All right, let's get right into it. If you're a Subaru owner, you already know they're awesome cars. But man, sometimes a weird error code pops up and it can be a real pain. We're going to tackle one of the big ones today, P1710.
So tell me if this sounds familiar. You're just driving, minding your own business, and bam, the gear shifts feel super rough, like a jolt, right? Or maybe the car is just struggling, shifting all over the place, not acting like it's supposed to.
Well, if you're nodding your head right now, you are in exactly the right place. The culprit could very well be this specific, kind of mysterious error code, P1710. So let's figure out what on earth your car is trying to tell you. So what does P1710 even mean? It just looks like a random string of letters and numbers, right? Let's go ahead and translate this thing from confusing car speak into plain, simple English. Okay, so the official technical definition is torque converter turbine to speed signal circuit malfunction. Yeah, I know, it's a total mouthful, but don't worry about all that. The only words you really need to focus on are speed signal and circuit malfunction. Here's the easiest way to think about it. Your car's computer, the ECU, is basically its brain. And this error code, it just means the brain isn't getting a clear signal from a really important sensor in your transmission. It's kind of like having a really bad cell phone connection, you know? The message gets all scrambled and the brain just can't figure out what to do next. And this breakdown in communication, it leads to some very real and very noticeable problems when you're behind the wheel. Let's talk about what you're probably feeling when you drive. Yeah, the biggest signs are that shift shock we talked about, that really harsh, jerky feeling when it changes gears. You might also see totally erratic shifting, where it feels like the car just can't decide what gear it wants to be in. And a huge one, a classic sign of this code, is when it just refuses to shift into fifth gear. Okay, so we know what's happening. Now we need to figure out why. And to do that, we're going to put on our detective hats. Turns out there are 4 main suspects that could be causing this whole mess in your car. Our investigation is going to focus on 4 possible culprits. And the best part? Each one has a pretty direct solution. We might be dealing with the sensor itself, the wiring attached to it, a bad electrical ground, or maybe even the power going to the car's brain. So this basically gives us a perfect roadmap. We're going to start with the most likely culprits and then just work our way down the list one by one. Let's turn this detective work into a really practical 4-point inspection. This is going to help you zero in on the exact problem. So here's the plan. First, we check the sensor. Then we follow the signal's path and inspect the circuit. After that, we look at the basic electrical stuff, the ground and the power supply. See? It's just a simple process of elimination. All right, suspect number 1. This is the most common one, by the way. It's the turbine speed sensor 2 itself. This little guy plays a massive role in making sure your car shifts smoothly. Its whole job is to figure out how fast a part in the torque converter is spinning and then report that speed back to the ECU. But if the sensor fails, it starts sending garbage information or nothing at all. So the car's brain gets confused, and that's when you get those awful rough shifts. The good news is the solution is usually pretty simple. Just replace the sensor. But what if the sensor is fine? What then? Well, that brings us to suspect number 2, the path the signal travels on. We're talking about the input circuit. Think of this circuit like it's the cable connecting the sensor to the ECU. If there's a break in that cable, that's an open circuit. Or if 2 wires are touching that shouldn't be, that's a short. The signal just gets lost. The fix here is to trace the wiring, find that break or short, and patch it up. Okay, so let's say the sensor is good and the wiring is good. Where do we look next? Well, suspect number 3 is a little more fundamental. It can cause all kinds of weird electrical problems. We're talking about a bad ground connection. You see, every important electrical part in your car, especially the ECU, needs a really solid ground connection to work right. If that ground is loose or corroded or shorted out, it creates chaos for the whole system. So the fix is to track down that bad ground and get it repaired, giving the ECU the stable connection it needs. And that brings us to our 4th and final suspect, the power supply. I mean, it makes sense, right? The ECU can't do its job if it isn't getting enough power to begin with. So if the power supply to the ECU is flaky, the car's brain is basically being starved of energy. It can't think straight, it can't process information, and so it throws up that P1710 code as a cry for help. The solution? You gotta check the whole power supply system and make sure it's sending a steady, reliable stream of power. Whew. Okay, so we've made it through all 4 suspects. Now, To pull this all together, let's boil it down to a super simple checklist you can actually use. This is the main takeaway right here. So here it is, your whole diagnostic process in just 4 steps. 1. Check the sensor. 2. Inspect its wiring. 3. Repair the ground connection. And 4. Verify the power supply. If you follow this list step by step, you will find the root cause of the problem. You know, there's a quote here that really just nails it. It is important to diagnose the root cause and take the necessary steps to repair it. That's the whole point. We're not just trying to make a warning light go away. We're trying to find and fix the actual issue. Just guessing is going to cost you time and money. A methodical approach is always, always the way to go.
And there you have it. That's the complete breakdown of the Subaru P1710 code. You've got the knowledge, you've got the roadmap. Now you can diagnose and solve this thing. So the only question left is, which suspect are you going to investigate first?